Hi guys, so today I'd like to make a video about some tips on how you can cue your yoga classes without demonstrating. So before we get into it, my name is Nicole and I teach yoga teachers how to clearly and confidently cue their yoga classes. So we have a workshop that happens every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and that is going to be a place where you can practice teaching your yoga classes, practice teaching different yoga poses, and getting feedback from the classes. So that workshop is called the 4-Layer Cueing Lab, and the link will be below for that. So I look forward to seeing you there, and let's get into it. So tip number one on how to cue your classes without demonstrating is create your own sequences. And when you create your own sequences, you are more likely to remember them. So for example, if you pick a peak pose, maybe that peak pose is eagle pose, and then you work backwards to create your warm-up and the middle and then the arc, and then the cool down. Everything that you add to your yoga sequence is going to bring you to that final pose, your peak pose. So once you do that, you're going to write it down, and it'll be easier for you to remember everything that you included in your sequence. Tip number two would be, if you decide not to create your own sequences, for example, if you like somebody else's sequences and you have a favorite teacher and you're like, "Ooh, I want to create a sequence that's similar to theirs." If you decide to do that, see if you can study that teacher's sequence. Like, why is it that they put these particular poses together? Does it make sense? And if it doesn't make sense, maybe question why they would put the sequence together. And if you have access to that teacher, ask them why they put that together, because then you can really understand the purpose and the intention behind it. So there's always going to be a purpose or intention, and it's your job to create sequences that make sense to you for a specific reason. My tip number three would be to practice your sequence over and over and over and over again. So you need to put in the reps. A lot of the times, if you just put together a sequence, maybe you didn't write it down, maybe you're just going with, how you're feeling that day. And I think that is totally fine. But if you put in the reps and do your sequence over and over again, you're going to remember it and you're not going to need to demonstrate it. The other tip that I do have is record your classes. So when you're practicing doing your sequence, vocalize the cue, say it out loud. And the reason is once you vocalize the cue, it's going to be a lived experience. And then tip number four, I think it's number four still, is if you are practicing your classes and you're cueing them, or you're sequencing and you're cueing them, see if you can record them. And then after you record your whole sequence, don't look at the video. Maybe you just voice record it, and then see if you can do your yoga class. And I would even take a notebook down and see if there's a point where you might want to improve. So have that notebook handy and write down cueing that you could use instead, as you're listening to yourself cue. So that's all the tips that I have for today. There's going to be more tips. Again, you can join my cueing lab, the 4-Layer Cueing Lab, on Tuesday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's going to be every week. And then I look forward to seeing you in the video or seeing you in my workshop, and I hope you have a wonderful day.